All right, you know how it is. You're standing in the grocery aisle, and suddenly you feel like you need a PhD just to pick out a box of cereal.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what even are half these ingredients?
Right. And all those percentages and claims, it can feel overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today, we are diving deep into the world of food and supplement labels.
We're going to decode all of that and arm you with the knowledge you need to make informed choices.
Exactly. No more mystery ingredients or confusing numbers.
By the end of this, you'll be a label reading pro.
I love that. A label reading pro. So where do we even start? What's the first thing we should look at?
Well, the ingredient list is a great place to begin.
Okay. The ingredient list. Got it.
Yeah, it's not just a random list of words. They actually tell a story.
Oh, interesting. I've heard that the order of the ingredients matters, but I'm not really sure why.
You're right. The order is key.
Okay.
Ingredients are always listed in descending order by weight. So the ingredient listed first,
Okay.
that makes up the largest portion of the product.
Got it.
And then the second, and so on.
So if sugar is at the top of the list.
Probably a good idea to put that cookie down.
Yeah, right.
But here's where it gets even trickier.
Okay.
The less than 2% rule.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
So ingredients present in amounts of 2% or less by weight.
Right.
They can be listed after a statement like contains 2% or less of.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean they're not there.
Well, that's so sneaky.
Right.
That explains why I once found artificial coloring in a yogurt that was marketed as all natural. It was like way down at the bottom of the list,
Oh, yeah.
hidden behind that statement.
It's like a secret language.
Exactly. So misleading.
It is, and that's why it's so important to read the entire ingredient list, not just the first few items.
Okay, good advice.
Companies often use this rule to hide less desirable ingredients, especially additives
Ah, sneaky, sneaky.
and artificial flavors.
Okay, so the ingredient list is like our first clue in our label detective mission. But what about the nutrition facts panel? That's where I really get lost.
Oh, yeah.
Those numbers.
I know it can seem daunting, but
Yeah.
it's actually quite logical once you understand the key components.
Okay.
So let's start with serving size,
Okay.
which is often a source of confusion.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes a package that looks like a single serving actually has multiple servings on the label. It's confusing.
You're absolutely right. Serving sizes are based on what people typically consume in one sitting,
Okay.
not necessarily on what's considered a healthy portion.
Interesting.
So that bag of chips you thought was a single serving
Yeah.
might actually contain 2 or even 3 servings,
Oh.
according to the label.
So you could be consuming way more calories, fat, and sugar than you realize.
Exactly. It's a sneaky trap.
It is. So we really have to pay attention to those serving sizes.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the percentage daily value, or PERCV.
Okay, proceed EV. That one always throws me off.
I know, it can be a bit confusing.
Yeah.
It tells you how much of a particular nutrient a serving of food contributes to your daily diet.
Okay.
However, it's important to remember that it's based on a 2,000-calorie diet,
right.
which might not be appropriate for everyone.
So if I have different calorie needs, the Perceive E might not be accurate for me.
Exactly.
Okay, good to know.
It's a general guideline.
Right.
But you might need to adjust it based on your individual needs.
Got it. So it's about personalizing that information
Exactly.
to fit my own needs.
Now, within the nutrition facts panel,
Okay.
there are some specific nutrients that are worth paying extra attention to.
Okay. I'm all ears. Which ones are we talking about?
Well, let's start with added sugars.
Okay, added sugars.
This is a key one because excess sugar intake is linked to a whole host of health problems,
Right.
from weight gain to heart disease.
Yeah, sugar is definitely something to be mindful of.
It is. And the dietary guidelines for Americans recommend limiting added sugars to no more than 10% of your daily calories.
10% of daily calories. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I even calculate that?
It's actually simpler than you might think.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say your daily calorie goal is 1,800 calories.
All right, 1,800.
You would multiply that by 0.1,
Okay.
which gives you 180 calories.
So that's my added sugar limit for the day.
Right, and since there are 4 calories in each gram of sugar,
Okay.
that means you should aim for no more than 45 grams of added sugar per day.
Wow. That's really helpful. I'm definitely going to start doing that calculation.
Yeah, it's a good one to keep in mind.
But sugar isn't the only nutrient we should be watching, right?
Right. In recent years, 2 other nutrients have joined the nutrition facts label.
Oh, that's right.
Vitamin D and potassium.
Yes, I remember seeing those.
Yeah.
Why those two?
Well, there's growing awareness that many people don't get enough of these essential nutrients.
Okay.
Vitamin D plays a crucial role in bone health and immune function.
Right.
And potassium helps regulate blood pressure.
So So by adding them to the label, it kind of encourages people to pay more attention to their intake of those nutrients.
Exactly. It helps raise awareness and encourages people to make informed choices.
Awesome. So we've got ingredient lists, serving sizes, and some key nutrients to watch out for. What else should we be looking for on these labels?
Well, there are a few more elements that are worth exploring.
Okay.
Allergens,
Okay.
gluten-free labeling, and country of origin.
Got it. Let's start with allergens. I know those can be really serious for some people.
They are, absolutely.
So how are they indicated on labels?
You're right, they're a serious matter.
Yeah.
The top 8 allergens, milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, and soybeans.
Okay.
They must be clearly identified on the label.
Got it.
They'll either be listed in the ingredient list
Okay.
or in a separate contained statement.
So even if you think you know what's in a product, it's crucial to double check that label
Absolutely.
for allergens, especially if you have a food allergy.
Especially.
Okay, now what about gluten-free labeling? It seems like everything is labeled gluten-free these days, even foods that are naturally gluten-free.
It's true.
What's the deal with that?
You'll find the gluten-free label on a wide range of products, even ones that wouldn't normally contain gluten.
Right.
To be labeled gluten-free, a product must contain less than 20 parts per million of gluten.
Wow, that's a tiny amount.
It is.
So why even label naturally gluten-free foods as gluten-free?
It's mainly for consumer convenience and peace of mind.
Oh, okay.
It helps people who follow a gluten-free diet
Right.
quickly and easily identify suitable products.
Got it.
And it assures them that there's been no cross-contamination during processing.
That makes sense. It's all about making informed choices easier for consumers.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about country of origin? Why is that information included on labels?
Primarily, it serves as a transparency measure.
Okay.
It lets consumers know where their food comes from
Right.
and make choices based on that information.
Okay, so for example, I might prefer to buy locally grown produce
Exactly.
or support American farmers.
Right.
It allows me to align my purchasing decisions with my values.
Exactly. It's about providing more information and choices to consumers.
I like that.
Now, let's move on to a topic that can be quite confusing.
Okay.
Health claims on food labels.
Oh, yes. Health claims. I always wonder how much of it is marketing hype versus actual science.
Right, you're not alone.
Yeah.
There are different types of health claims,
Okay.
and it's crucial to understand the level of scientific backing behind them.
Okay. Can you break it down for me?
Sure, so we can categorize them as nutrient content claims,
Okay.
health claims,
All right.
and structure function claims.
Okay, so nutrient content claims. Tell me about those.
They use specific terms like low, free, and high
Okay.
that have legally defined meanings.
So, for instance, a product labeled low fat,
Right.
it has to meet a certain requirement.
It must meet a specific fat content requirement per serving.
So those claims are generally reliable because they have to adhere to those legal definitions.
Exactly.
All right. What about health claims?
Health claims suggest a relationship between a food or substance and a reduced risk of a disease or health condition.
Okay.
But there are 2 types, unqualified and qualified health claims.
Okay, what's the difference?
Unqualified health claims are supported by a significant body of scientific evidence.
All right.
There is a strong consensus among experts
Okay.
that the claim is accurate and it doesn't require a disclaimer.
Got it. So those are the ones we can really trust.
Yes. For example, the claim calcium builds strong bones.
Right.
That would be an unqualified health claim.
Got it. What about qualified health claims?
Qualified health claims, they still suggest a health benefit,
Okay.
but they might not have the same level of scientific consensus as the unqualified claims.
Okay.
And they must include a disclaimer explaining the level of scientific evidence supporting that claim.
So I need to be more cautious with those claims and look for the disclaimer.
Right.
It's like they're saying, hey, there might be some benefit, but don't take our word for it. All right, good to know. It's always a good idea to do your own research
Yes.
and consult with a doctor or registered dietitian.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions about a specific health claim.
Definitely.
I once fell for a misleading claim about a miracle weight loss tea. And let's just say it wasn't so miraculous.
Oh, no.
It's a good reminder to be a skeptical consumer.
Absolutely. You got to be careful out there.
Okay, now what about structure function claims?
Those are the trickiest ones.
Okay.
Structure function claims suggest a benefit related to a nutrient's role in the body,
Okay.
but they don't actually require FDA approval.
Oh, interesting.
They often use phrases like supports immunity or promotes relaxation.
So they have more leeway in their wording.
Right.
Because they don't have to go through that same rigorous testing.
Exactly.
Got it. So we need to be a little more cautious with those claims.
You do?
Focus on the ones that are backed by science.
Definitely.
And take the others with a grain of salt.
Good advice.
It's amazing how much information is packed onto those tiny labels.
Right. It's like a secret code.
It is. And now we have the tools to decipher that code.
You do.
We've talked about ingredient lists, nutrition facts, allergens, and those tricky health claims.
We have.
But there's a whole other world out there.
Oh, yeah.
Dietary supplements.
The world of supplements, it can be so confusing.
It can be.
Even misleading at times.
But I've definitely felt lost in the supplement aisle before.
I bet there are so many products out there.
There are, and they all claim to do something different.
They do. It's important to remember that supplements
Yes.
are intended to supplement a healthy diet, not replace it.
Right, so they shouldn't be your primary source of nutrients.
No, they're meant to fill nutritional gaps, not be the foundation of your diet.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there things about supplements that most people don't know?
Yeah, there are a few things that often surprise people.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
First, unlike medications, which are strictly regulated by the FDA, supplements don't go through the same rigorous testing
Wait,
for safety and effectiveness before they hit the market.
I always assumed they had to go through some sort of approval process.
I know, a lot of people do. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Wow, so the regulations are much looser for supplements than they are for medications.
They are?
So how do you know if a supplement is safe and effective then?
That's a great question. That's where being a discerning consumer comes in.
Okay.
You know, look for supplements that have been independently tested and certified by reputable organizations like USP
Okay.
or NSF.
Got it. So not all supplements are created equal.
Right.
What else should people know?
Another important point is that the strength and dosages of supplements are not standardized.
What does that mean?
This means that two different brands of the same supplement could contain vastly different amounts of the active ingredients.
Wow. So you could be taking way more or way less than you think.
Exactly. And this lack of standardization can make it really difficult to determine the appropriate dosage for your needs.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to supplements.
It's important to be informed.
It is. Okay, what else?
Well, warnings about potential side effects or interactions with medications are not always required on supplement labels.
That's a bit scary. So you might not know about the risks until it's too late.
It's definitely a concern. Some supplements can have serious side effects
Yeah,
or interact with medications.
right.
That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian
Okay.
before taking any supplements, especially if you have underlying health conditions or take medication.
I had a friend who started taking a new supplement for energy and ended up having heart palpitations.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she had no idea that it could cause that kind of reaction.
That's unfortunately not uncommon.
Yeah,
It's a good reminder that natural doesn't always mean safe.
that's very true.
Now, let's talk about a specific supplement that's been getting a lot of attention lately. CBD.
CBD, yes.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone is talking about CBD these days, so what's the deal with it?
CBD or cannabidiol is an active ingredient in cannabis.
Right.
But unlike THC,
Right,
it doesn't have psychoactive effects.
meaning it won't get you high.
Exactly.
So it's the non-psychoactive component of cannabis.
Exactly.
Okay, and I've heard about all these potential health benefits
Right.
for a wide range of conditions, from anxiety to pain to inflammation, even sleep disorders. But there also seems to be a lot of confusion surrounding CBD,
Yeah, there is.
especially its legal status.
Yeah, you're right.
It's still a bit hazy, right?
It is. The legal status of CBD is still a bit hazy.
Okay.
While CBD is an active ingredient in an FDA-approved drug for epilepsy,
Okay.
it's also widely marketed in other forms,
Okay, what?
like oils, gummies, and even skincare products.
So it's both a medicine and a wellness ingredient? That seems confusing.
It is, and this legal ambiguity has led to a sort of Wild West scenario in the CBD market.
What do you mean by Wild West?
There's a lack of standardization, and quality control products can vary widely in terms of CBD content and purity.
So how do you know what you're getting when you buy a CBD product?
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
It's essential to buy CBD products from reputable sources
Okay.
that provide third-party testing to verify their claims.
Got it. Buyer beware. What else should people know about CBD?
Well, while CBD is generally considered safe,
Okay.
it can cause side effects like nausea, fatigue, and diarrhea.
Okay.
It can also interact with certain medications,
Oh!
especially those that are metabolized by the liver.
So it's not completely risk-free.
No supplement is entirely risk-free.
Right.
And because CBD is relatively new, we're still learning about its long-term effects and potential interactions.
So what's your take on the future of CBD regulation? Do you think it will become more standardized?
I think we'll definitely see more regulation of the CBD market as research continues and the FDA clarifies its stance.
Okay.
But for now,
Yeah.
it's best to proceed with caution.
Right.
Do your research and consult with your doctor before adding CBD to your routine.
Sounds like good advice. So a healthy dose of skepticism is key when it comes to CBD.
I think so.
This has been incredibly insightful.
Good.
We've covered so much ground already,
We have.
from ingredient lists and nutrient percentages to those tricky health claims and the wild world of supplements.
Absolutely.
It's clear that food and supplement labels are full of valuable information, but it can be so overwhelming to try to decipher it all.
It's true. It can be overwhelming.
But now we have the tools to decode those labels.
We do.
We've really broken it down.
I think so.
And hopefully this will help our listeners feel more confident
I hope so.
about reading those labels and making informed choices.
That's the goal.
It is.
Cool.
So let's take a quick break, and when we come back,
Okay.
we'll discuss how to actually apply all of this knowledge in the real world.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we've learned how to read these labels like pros, but how do we actually use this knowledge when we're at the store? It's easy to feel overwhelmed with all the choices.
It is. You're surrounded by all these products and marketing tactics.
Exactly. So how do we avoid those marketing traps
Yeah.
and actually make healthy choices?
Well, think of yourself as a label detective,
Yeah.
armed with a magnifying glass.
I like it.
Start by really focusing on that ingredient list.
Okay.
Look for products with fewer ingredients, especially ones that you recognize and can actually pronounce.
So shorter ingredient lists are usually better.
Generally, yes.
Okay.
It usually means less processing and fewer additives.
Got it. Keep it short and sweet.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to compare labels.
Oh.
If you're choosing between two similar products, see which one has less sugar, sodium, or saturated fat.
It's like a little game,
It is a bit of a game,
seeing which one is better.
but it's a game worth playing.
Yeah, for your health.
Exactly. And don't forget about those serving sizes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, all that nutrition information on the label,
Right?
it's based on that specific serving size.
Right. Like a bag of chips that looks like one serving might actually be 2 or 3 servings,
Exactly.
according to the label.
That's a classic.
Is.
So always double check that serving size before you dig in.
Okay, good tip.
And speaking of things to watch out for, let's talk about added sugars again.
Yes, added sugar, it's everywhere.
It is. It hides in sauces, salad dressings, yogurt, even snacks that seem healthy.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy.
You really have to be a sugar detective.
I never would have thought of salad dressing as a sugar bomb, but you're right.
It can be.
It can be.
Always check the labels. Remember that sugar has many different names.
Okay, like what?
Look out for corn syrup, dextrose, fructose, maltose.
Those are all just sugar.
Yep, all just fancy names for sugar.
Wow. Sneaky, sneaky.
It is. Also, pay attention to the order of ingredients.
Okay.
If sugar is near the top,
Right.
it's probably high in sugar.
Makes sense.
And keep in mind that even natural sweeteners,
Okay.
like honey and maple syrup,
Right.
can contribute to your overall sugar intake.
Okay. Good to know. So we've got our sugar detecting goggles on. What about health claims? How can we tell which ones are legit and which ones are just trying to sell us something?
Remember those different types of claims we talked about?
Yes.
Nutrient content claims, health claims, and structure function claims.
Right.
So nutrient content claims like low fat or high fiber,
Yeah.
those are generally reliable
Okay.
because they have those specific legal definitions.
Those are the trustworthy ones.
Right. Now, health claims suggest a link between a food or substance and a reduced risk of disease.
Okay.
And remember, unqualified health claims are the gold standard.
All right. Unqualified.
Those are supported by strong scientific evidence,
Yeah.
and they don't need that disclaimer.
Good. Those are the ones we want.
Yes. Then there are qualified health claims. They might have some evidence,
Okay.
but it's not as strong.
Got it.
And they have to have that disclaimer that explains the level of scientific support.
So proceed with caution there.
Definitely.
Maybe do some more research.
Exactly. And then, of course, those structure function claims.
Yeah, those seem to have the most leeway.
They do.
So how do we approach those?
Yeah, so remember, structure function claims suggest a benefit related to a nutrient's role in the body,
Right.
but they haven't been rigorously tested.
Okay.
So don't put too much stock in claims like supports digestion or boosts energy without looking into it a bit more.
Got it. Focus on the claims backed by science and be wary of the vague ones.
Right.
And, of course, when it comes to supplements, always talk to your doctor before adding anything new, right?
Absolutely. Supplements can interact with medications or have unintended side effects.
Yeah, definitely don't want that.
It's always best to be cautious and talk to your healthcare provider.
Okay, so we've got all these practical tips for navigating these labels.
I think so.
But I have one more question. With all this information overload, how do we stay motivated
Yeah.
to keep reading labels and making healthy choices? You know, it's easy to fall back into old habits when we're busy.
It is. It's a challenge for sure. It's all about finding what works for you and making it sustainable. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
So how do we make it fun and not so overwhelming?
I think it's about focusing on the positive. Instead of thinking of label reading as this burden,
Right.
think of it as a way to nourish your body with the best possible ingredients.
So it's about self-care,
Exactly.
not self-deprivation.
Yes, and celebrate those small victories.
Oh, okay.
You know, maybe you swap out a sugary cereal for a whole grain option.
Yeah.
Or choose a snack with less sodium.
A little change.
Those little wins can add up and make a big difference.
I like that. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And don't be so hard on yourself if you slip up every now and then.
Yeah, we're all human.
We are. It's all about finding a balance and making sustainable choices.
Choices that you can actually stick with.
Yes, in the long run.
Okay, so we've had this amazing deep dive into the world of food and supplement labels.
We have.
I feel like I've learned a new language. And I actually feel empowered now
Good.
to make those healthy choices.
That's what we want.
It's about being an informed consumer, taking charge of your health destiny.
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it. We've been on quite the journey,
We have.
exploring the world of food and supplement labels.
It is a fascinating world.
It is. It's amazing how much information is packed into those tiny little squares.
Like a detective story.
It is. Uncovering all those clues.
Exactly.
The more we learn, the more empowered we become as consumers.
Absolutely.
We've learned to decipher those ingredient lists,
Right.
navigate the nutrition facts panels,
Yes.
and even spot those tricky health claims.
They can be sneaky.
They can. We've also explored the sometimes confusing world of dietary supplements
We have.
and highlighted the importance of being informed and talking to those healthcare professionals.
Very important.
This has been an eye-opening experience for sure.
Good.
I feel like I can actually make informed choices now about what I'm putting into my body.
That's the goal.
It is.
Huh.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the most important thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway is that reading labels is a skill.
Okay.
And like any skill, it takes practice.
Right.
Don't get discouraged if you feel a little overwhelmed at first.
Yeah, it's a lot of information.
It is. Start small, focus on one thing at a time,
Okay.
and gradually build your knowledge.
It's like learning a new language.
It really is. The more you practice, the easier it becomes.
Exactly. And you don't have to be a nutritionist to make healthy choices.
Right.
Just by taking the time to read those labels,
Yes.
you're already on the right track.
Absolutely.
It's all about progress, not perfection.
I agree.
We all have busy lives.
We do.
It's not realistic to analyze every single ingredient,
No.
but by being a little more aware,
Right.
we can slowly change those habits
Exactly.
and make healthier choices.
It's a journey.
It is. So to all our listeners out there, you have the power to be informed consumers.
Yes, you do.
Make those healthy choices.
Absolutely.
Reading labels is a valuable tool,
It is.
but it's just one part of the bigger picture.
Right.
Combine that with a healthy lifestyle,
Yes.
a balanced diet, exercise,
Very important.
and you're well on your way to a healthier you.
I think so.
I think so too. And don't forget to share your label reading aha moments with us on social media.
We love hearing from you.
We do. Until next time, happy label reading.